Hello, welcome to Vapor Apparel. We're here to talk to you a little bit today about cut and sew sublimation. We talk to a lot of sublimators on a daily basis from all walks of life, working in all different types of markets. Work with a lot of folks with a desktop printer and a 15 by 20 press who want to get rid of that little shiny square and they need some help. We work with a lot of folks who are doing all over print, which has obviously been very popular on a large flatbed press. And lately, a lot of folks want to talk about cut and sew, which is exciting. It means the market for customization is expanding and that more and more people are realizing there might be an opportunity for their business in this area. So as a result of that, we're learning some things and we wanted to share those with you as you consider this as part of your potential business. Like any business decision that involves a lot of expense and capital equipment, we encourage you to validate your market first. We encourage you to consider an outsourcing model where you're harnessing your internal graphical resources and validating the market while you learn about sewing from a third party, where you learn about large format roll-to-roll press from a third party, and then accumulate more of that internally as your market opportunity justifies. So hopefully this information will be helpful to you. If not, you can always give us a call at Vapor Apparel, or we'll see you at ISS or one of the impressions issues coming to your business soon. So thanks and good luck.
Step 1. Get design concept right from the customer. Customers may submit their own artwork if you have provided them with templates to do so. If your art department is doing the art for them, you may want to have a designer sit with them so that they can fully grasp the customer's concept. It's important to get high-resolution vector art of any logos the customers may want, as well as a spreadsheet that lists names, numbers, and sizes for any variable data you may be adding. Step 2. Identify the proper template. Templates come in all different cuts. Polos, tanks, hoodies, jerseys, long or short sleeve tees are all possibilities. Once your client has decided the cut, you will either provide them with the correct template or begin the process with your own art department. When providing your client with templates, it's important to find out what software the client is using as well as the version they use. You will want to provide them with the same file version so that the template layers remain intact. Templates should include the full size range of garments, with each size being on a separate layer so that the designer can easily adjust the designs to fill out the frame of each cut piece for each size. Step 3. Lay it out in your design application. Whether you use Illustrator, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, or a combination will be determined by the style of art and the preference of the designer. Keep in mind that if your art scales with each garment size, the work required from the designer will be multiplied by the number of sizes being ordered by the customer. An order that only includes sizes small, medium, and large takes much less time than an order that needs an extra small through 3XL, regardless of quantity. As you design for each panel, keep in mind that you allow a certain amount of tolerance between pieces. Customers need to be aware that there is an allowance where some art is lost into the seams and hems. It can be tricky creating art that has critical parts blending from one panel to the next and trying to line up elements like stripes coming off the front and back and going onto the sleeve. If your cut includes ribbed fabric on the collars or cuffs, keep in mind that when printing solid colors, these pieces could produce an undesirable look when the ribbing is stretched. Having some sort of pattern or image to hide this issue is recommended. A critical part of the process is labeling each piece with text on the inside edge of the design that will be hidden on the hem or seam on a completed garment. The people sewing the garments don't have the luxury of seeing digital file names or folder structure. Oftentimes they are dealing strictly with cut pieces. Having the correct identifiers on each piece, including garment cut, garment size, piece name, client name, and design name, will help them correctly assemble all of the correct pieces for each garment. You will also want to show a mock-up that labels all of the pieces to not only help the sewer, but also help the client understand the flat pieces they are looking at. Once the client has approved the art, the designer needs to organize the pieces in a way that minimizes paper and fabric waste while keeping the fabric grain in mind. Rotating pieces the wrong way could lead to parts of the garment stretching in an undesirable way. Organizing your print-ready files in fabric-specific folders is an additional way of helping your printing and pressing production teams keep garments with multiple fabrics organized. Step 4. Rip and print. So you are now ready to start printing. Great! Load your art into your RIP software. There are several known RIP software packages that are ideal for sublimation. ErgoSoft, Wasatch, and GAN's Pyro RIP are just a few of the options. Many printer companies, including Roland, offer a proprietary RIP as part of their solution. You can now manipulate your order in order to fit the print platen. Keep in mind the orientation of the art and how it will meet up with the fabric. This will dictate which direction this can be rotated. Once you have maximized your media, name it and print your job. This print job now goes through a RIP server that gets all the information ready for the printer to interpret and lay down some ink. Some things to remember so as not to overload your RIP servers: print portions like sizes instead of full order. This will make it easier to track and will be gentle on your RIP server. If you try to load everything at once, it will take your job longer to RIP and prevent you from printing smaller items or jobs to other machines. Step 5. Transfer with precision. You have a finished roll of printed paper, and so now you are ready to transfer it onto your bulk roll poly-performance fabric. There are a number of steps that are required to have success. Each roll press is unique, so check with specific manufacturers for the best information. Once you have your materials, here is the process. Step 6. Cutting. Load your roll of fabric on a cutting table that has a rod system to hold your fabric spools in place while you pull the fabric out evenly onto the table itself. There are automatic spreaders and cutters, but you can also do this process manually. This reduces your investment. Cutting your panels manually can also be more time-consuming, but you get greater precision. Whatever method you employ, be sure to keep your panels organized so that the sewer, seamstress, has every piece they need to complete the garment. Using containers, job jackets, and/or carts to move the pieces through the sewing process are ideal to prevent pieces from getting lost or dirty. It is critical to make it easy to track all the parts. If you are manually cutting the pieces, it's a good opportunity to proof the pieces for any printing or pressing flaws that may have been missed in the earlier steps. Keeping a detailed list of any pieces that are flawed will start the process of getting recuts created for any flawed pieces. Removing the pieces at this point will prevent wasted time sewing flawed garments and improve profitability. Step 7. Sewing. Prepping the sewing station up front and having a clear definition of what pieces are needed to assemble a garment. The sewer will refer to a bill of materials as a guide to assemble the garment. They should also have a mock-up that displays all of the pieces making up the garment and any spreadsheets that involve customization items such as names, numbers, and logos. When doing larger runs, it is more efficient to have several sewing stations that specialize in specific tasks grouped by stitching and thread types. Having one sewer focus on attaching panels, another doing neck tapes, and another doing the hems is an example of how to streamline the process and avoid constant adjustments to the sewing machines themselves. A finishing department with the proper equipment can add things like buttons, zippers, drawstrings, or whatever other items your cuts call for. Adding tags, labels, and packaging are also part of this process that help present the garment to the end customer in a professional way and so that it stands out in a retail environment. There should be one final quality control check of the garment before it gets shipped out. Any garment that does not meet the standard should be removed and placed on a list for replacement. All the shirts that are fit to wear. As you can see, the investment, processes, skill sets, and experience needed to confidently move into cut and sew are substantial. A focused review of your market opportunity is critical to ensure your investment is appropriate. Many people who are now profitably doing cut and sew sublimation domestically started out focused on printing and worked with an outside company to take on the sewing side of business. Outsourcing some or all of this product platform makes sense for most of the people considering it. It is always a good idea to validate the market demand before investing, and this is no exception to that rule. If the market demand is there, you will enjoy great profit potential.